Hey Andrew, Megan McCracken here, and in this video I'm going to go over just some quick tips and tricks of some things that you can do to improve your online presence and be able to reach more customers. And the reason why I make these videos is because I want to provide something of value to business owners so that even if you don't decide to move forward with a further conversation with it, it can still be something that can hopefully benefit you if you're able to implement it. Having said that, lots of times business owners end up coming back to me and saying, Megan, I like you, please just do this for me. So if that's you, um, I'll be happy to chat more. But otherwise, I'll just jump into it. The main things we're going to be talking about are how you're doing on Google with your website and things that you can do to improve it. And so we'll talk about content, backlinks, and then we'll go over Google Maps listings and citations. So first of all, for content, just as a call out, I just want to say you're actually doing pretty well as far as words on the homepage. Google, as a rule of thumb, likes to see about 1,500 words. Honestly, typically, you also want to look at your competition and do at least like 250 words more than them, but 1,500 as a rule of thumb, which for you, you have just under 1,300. So I mean, there is some room to add more, and I think you could even, do to add more that are relevant keywords related to searches that customers are going to be looking for, which I'll talk about in just a second here. But as far as like the quantity, you're doing better than other people. And if we look at like this is one roofing company in Idaho that's doing really well. They have just under 1,000. They're kind of above you in other ways, which I'll again talk about. But that's just as an example that I wanted to start out with. And this is a solar company in Idaho that's also ranking pretty well for relevant keywords related to solar, and they have just about 750. So you actually even have room to beat them out if you can even double the amount of content that they have, which you can do if you have 1,500. With you having roof and solar, I would recommend even having more just because you're trying to kind of target two markets and kind of at the same time. So that way you can be beating out competitors in both industries since you're tackling both. So that's the first thing, is just improving the homepage. And then also, as a rule of thumb, Google likes to see about 500 words on subpages, and Google likes to see really specific subpages. So instead of having just an Our Services page, you definitely want to break everything out, have at least 500 words, all with relevant content. All tackling those different keywords that would be related to your industry. So this is a website that I use called Ahrefs, and it will show you how you're doing in regards to rankings. It'll show you volume in searches per month, um, and then how much traffic you're getting from those searches. And then you can also put in your competitors. So this is you. And KD also stands for keyword difficulties. So it's how hard it is to actually get ranked on these, which the lower it is, the easier it is, which means it takes the least amount of time to start to rank. So metal roofing Boise is actually not a hard KD at all, and it's a pretty decent volume per month. However, you're not ranking for it. You're only getting, well, I mean, you are, but you're in the top 20. You're not ranking in like the top 5. You're not in those very top searches for metal roofing Boise. Even for your own, for Recon roofing, and then things like Boise metal roofing, solar Boise, there's 40 per month, Boise solar companies, Boise roof repair. So lots of these opportunities, all with pretty low KDs and all with a pretty high amount of volume, where if you're only converting even a small percentage of that, especially for how much I know roofing and solar jobs go for, like that's a lot of revenue that you're missing out on by not ranking for these keywords, not ranking higher for these keywords. Now on the roofing side, if we look at Point Roofing, again, they're ranking pretty well on Google. If we look at keywords for them and traffic they're getting, and they're not even ranking number one in all of these, but like for example, roofing Boise, that's 90. That's a higher KD, so, but it is still definitely possible to rank for. It just might take a little bit longer. But that's 16 coming to their website per month. And then, I mean, if we just look at all of this traffic per month that they're getting, that is a lot of potential customers. Again, even if these are a small percentage of these are actual buyer intent leads, that still is a decent amount of revenue that they're getting because they're ranking in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th spot, etc. And then same goes for solar. These guys are doing really well for a lot of solar, Boise solar companies, for example, which by the way, again, have really low keyword difficulty. So they're low hanging fruit that you definitely can beat them out on. But that is a lot of traffic that they are getting to their website each month just for solar. And with you doing both, if you could get both of these, you'll be right as rain. So that's the first thing, is just researching the types of keywords that your competitors are ranking for and writing your content around that. There's different softwares you can use to write it. There's like Surfer SEO. I use one called Phrase, just depends on what your budget is. And then you can write out that content. Now, the second thing after you have the content is starting to get backlinks. Backlinks are the popularity contest of Google. So that is other websites pointing back to your website as the expert. So you'd be wanting other websites to point back to you as the roofing expert in Idaho, as the solar expert in Idaho. Um, and the more of those that you have, especially websites that have a high authority in those industries and a lot of relevancy, the more of those you have, the better for in the eyes of Google. So looking over at you and how you're doing with referring websites, Google only cares about do follow links. So they don't care about anything with a zero next to it. So you have about, looks like, let's see, 40 maybe here. So I mean, not too bad, but definitely could be improved upon. If we look over at these guys, they're doing really well for having a lot of referring domains, and a lot of theirs that I was looking at are really relevant. Which, I mean, some businesses will make the mistake of just going after as many backlinks as possible, and that's not necessarily going to help you. In fact, it could just cause a red flag to Google if you don't have relevant websites pointing back to you. But like top best roofing contractor is, a good example of one. Google's going to see that and see, oh, okay, that's relevant. So I typically recommend that people just go after the exact same links that their competitors have, and then also get some of their own. You want to have at least double what your competitors have, and that is what can make you compete with them as far as rankings go, especially with matching it up with relevant, good keyword content. So that's the second thing, are backlinks. And there's different softwares that you can kind of just Google that will help you go after those links and even see what links are the types you'd want to go after. Um, and that can help you out as well. And then the very last thing is Google Maps listings and citations. So that just means, if we Google roofing company Boise, we care about the people in these top 3 slots because these are the money slots, right? Most people aren't clicking on more businesses. They're just not. So the way that you get in these top 3 slots is by having as many citations as possible relevant to your industry. Citations meaning that your business's name, address, and phone number with like the type of services you have are listed throughout the web. There's a site called Whitespark that's a pretty cheap monthly subscription you can use, that will show you what you have compared to your competitors. So you have just under 25% of what your competitors have. And then opportunities are all of these. So these are all the places across the web that you could be cited where you're not cited. And so the nice thing about these is it's a one and done service. So once you get yourself cited here, it's this one, unlike SEO and website maintenance, isn't a monthly thing that you have to do. It's just one and done, and then you want to check back into it occasionally. But once you can get yourself cited here, along with your website getting ranked on the other side of things, you'll start to slowly see yourself move into these top slots for the areas that you are wanting to tackle. And it doesn't necessarily have to just be for Boise. That's just the one example that I wanted to show you. So that is the last thing. So again, the things I went over are content, having relevant content, good amount of words, but also obviously making sure that they match the types of keyword searches you're wanting to rank for. And then number 2 is chasing down those backlinks, the same as your competitors and then some. And then lastly, getting those Google Maps listings. And then, obviously the very last thing would be like Facebook and Google ads. But typically I recommend starting with SEO just because I mean, you can always pay for those ads later, and that will make you do really well if you're not already paying for those ads. But this way you can get a lot of organic traffic without having to do that. So that is everything. If you have any more questions, I'd be happy to hop on a call. My phone number is 385-315-7439. You can also schedule in my signature in the link I'll be sending you. But otherwise, I hope this can be helpful for you. So thanks, Andrew. Have a good one. Bye.